Welcome to Cut the Crop, keeping you in the know about everything you grow. Researchers, growers and other interesting folk delivering insights and information on topics ranging from agronomy to profitability. Brought to you by the Foundation for Arable Research.
Hello and welcome to Cut the Crop. I'm Anna Heslop and my guest today is farm maize researcher David Densley, and we're just going to be doing a catch-up on what's happening with maize research and extension program for the coming year. Welcome, David.
Hello, Anna. Good to be with you again.
So the maize research focus is still along what you're calling the pre-focus. Do you want to outline what that pre-PRE is all about?
It's all about, just as a refresher. So P stands for profitability, right? So it's absolutely fundamental. And it's first as well for a reason. R stands for resilience. So how do we build resilience within our system, particularly with a changing climate, right? So more extreme weather events. And we've talked about that in previous podcasts. And the final one, E, is around environmental. So what does our practices, our maize production practices need to look like moving forward in order to meet environmental compliance?
Okay.
So that's our pre-focus.
Making money, maintaining environmental compliance and within a resilient system.
Yes.
Excellent.
Yes.
So what does the actual on-farm or on-farm research look like this year?
On-farm research, yes. So we've got a busy 12 months really lined up, and just going back a step and just reminding us again around our five plus what we're calling our 5+ research initiatives within that pre-focus. And so at a high level, the 5 are around strip till and no-till and what does best practice look like and comparing that against cultivation systems. Second one is around precision ag. So how do we use precision ag for our profitability, resilience and environment? Third one is around greenhouse gases. So what does our emissions look like within our maize production system? And then how do we mitigate that? Fourth one is around integrated pest and weed management. And the fifth one is around cover crops. So they're our 5 at a high level. They're our 5 research initiatives for the next period of time. So what we've done within that is now we're doing research on farm. So we've got our long-term research site at Tamahiri, just outside of Hamilton. And then we're actually out on farm as well. So we've got 4 or 5 farms where we're doing specific research at a farmer level as well.
So whereabouts are those farms located?
Yep, so they're all located in the Greater Waikato. And we've talked in previous podcasts around our Beyond First Principles workshops, and we've been up and down the country really, and talking to rural professionals and farmers. You know, we've talked about their research. Now, in a perfect world, we would be doing research in all those regions, but we simply just don't have the resource. We simply just don't have the resource nor the funding to be able to do that. So we're doing the research in the Greater Waikato, which is close, it's where our maize research is based. And then in time, we'll actually be doing some maize research down here in the South Island as well, and we'll talk about that in the future as well. We're just starting that conversation. But what we're hoping to do is that our research that's going on in the Greater Waikato will actually have, there'll be some take-home practices that anybody within a maize production system in New Zealand can apply to their own operation.
Okay. So what are these on-farm and on research site trials focusing on? Those 5 things that you ran through?
Yep. So there's a lot to cover off there. So these sites initially will have 3 establishment systems, so conventional cultivation, strip till and no-till, by 4 different cover crop options. And so on those on-farm research sites, so most of those are from maize silage farming systems, but some are also in the grain system as well. So we're looking at different cover crops and then over the top of that, 3 different establishment systems. And these are designed to be medium to long-term research. So we want to So they'll look at strip till and no-till and compare that to conventional cultivation, and then look at cover crop. And within that, around what's going on with our greenhouse gases and some other things as well.
So what does medium to long term mean?
Yeah, so at least 5 years. So if we're going to make a difference, so these farms these maize production farms that we're on, most of them have been in long-term maize production. In previous podcasts, we've talked about the importance of soil organic matter and soil health. Okay, so we want to understand. Okay, so what has long-term cultivation done to our soil organic matter and to our soil quality, and what impact does that have on resilience within our maize production system? And then can we then use no-till or strip-till to improve our soil quality, to bring more resilience into our system, and to drive profitability? Okay, so that's part of the research, thinking about that pre-focus. So looking at the different establishment systems and the different cover crops and what that does to our profitability, resilience, and environmental piece.
Okay, so you touched on greenhouse gas emissions there. That's a pretty hot topic at the moment because by the end of this year, 25% of New Zealand farmers need to know what their greenhouse gas emissions number is. How do you feel people are getting on with that concept, and that you've just been around the country? What are maize growers feeling like about that?
Yes, look, I mean, this is, I think it can be a bit intimidating and challenging, right, for farmers. I mean, it's a fast-moving space. So I think they're sort of wrestling with that and you're just working through that, really. So that's right. As you said, 25% by this year and 100% by the next year need to know their greenhouse gas emissions. And then once you know those emissions, then what is your mitigation? I mean, moving further along, what is your mitigation strategies? And so our research is really working at understanding that more. So what are some of our mitigation strategies? What do they need to look like? And so, for example, what's the difference between cultivation and, say, no-till as far as greenhouse gas emissions are concerned?
Yeah, that's going to be important going forward, isn't it?
Absolutely.
How do we get this information out to growers? So you've got a research plan. Tell us about the extension plan that goes alongside it.
Yep. So research is one. It's a critical part, right? So do the research, understand what that research is telling us, and then how do we apply that on farms? So just doing simple research and writing that up, and then launching it through podcasts doesn't necessarily mean it's applied on farm. So extension becomes a critical part as well. So we've got a number of extension activities lined up for this coming year. So starting off in somewhere between the first and second week in September. So on a couple of these farms in the Waikato, and unfortunately they need to be in the Waikato.
So these will be looking at cover crops? Yep.
So in September we're going to look at the cover crops. So we've got some novel cover crops in amongst the research. And we're going to share some of the information. So we've already got those cover crops down. We've already, so the research team done an amazing job there. And a shout out to those guys because they do a lot of hard work. We've already started. We've already done the first lot of harvest on that. We're running the drone across that as well, looking at NDVI and a whole range of stuff. So we want to open that up. We're going to be on site then looking at that in early September. So that's before the maize is planted. We're going to have strip spraying as well. And so we think there's a real opportunity there moving forward. And then on the 8th of December, we can name that date, 8th of December. We then want to go back to these same farms and look at our maize. So what's going on? You won't see the cover crops by then, although some of the cover crops, clover, will actually carry forward and have within our no-till and our strip-till system. Of course, our cultivation treatment, that clover is taken out, but under the strip-till and no-till, we actually keep that clover there. So we will see some of our cover crop treatments on the 8th of December, but we'll actually be seeing maize. So we'll see the maize. We'll be able to see the maize planted under no-till and under strip-till and under conventional cultivation. And we'll have some information on our leaf nutrient analysis and look at establishment. How's our establishment gone? Because one of the challenges with no-till in particular is being able to achieve that uniform spacing and uniform emergence. We've talked about that in our earliest podcasts around our Beyond First Principles. It's a fundamental to get that emergence right. So we're going to be looking at some of those things on the 8th of December.
So on the 8th of December, you're going to revisit those sites that were already looked at in September and see how those cover crops potentially have, and establishment techniques, the differences that have occurred.
Absolutely. And we'll visit, at this stage we want to visit 2 of the farms, but there are other farms out there with similar sort of treatments.
Cool. And then the biggie. What's happening in February?
Yes, and we can announce our Maize Conference. So we're reintroducing our Maize Conference. So that's on the 2nd, so Wednesday the 2nd. Just check my dates there. It's coming in my head. So Wednesday the 2nd and Thursday the 3rd of February, we're announcing our Maize Conference. And that's going to be in Hamilton, at Claudelands in Hamilton. Now, we're going to have a pre-conference field day afternoon as well. So those that are coming out of town, so might be coming a long way away, we'll actually provide an opportunity on the afternoon, Tuesday afternoon, before the conference to go out onto these farms that we've just talked about with our extension day. So by then we'll be well and truly post-flowering, and we'll be able to see what's going on with the grain field and just look at, the difference between no-till, strip-till and cultivation, and underneath that, cover crops and what's going on there.
So the conference program itself, you're looking at some international speakers, but there'll be some bus trips involved with that as well.
Yes. So we're close to sort of nailing down the itinerary, but on the afternoon of the first afternoon of the conference conference proper. So this is Wednesday afternoon. We're going to bus out to our Temahiri site. This is the FAR research site just outside of Hamilton, and we're going to have 3 workstations there. So, and we're still scoping that out, but around precision ag and how we've used precision ag in our research site. So there's some interesting stuff we've got going on there. It really is. The other one is around nitrogen use efficiency, and the third one, probably we're looking at either the carbon to nitrogen ratio trial and how we might manage our nitrogen, or our long-term establishment. We're still just working through that, but plenty to see. And then a live demonstration as well of the planter we'll be planting green and maybe planting into strip as well. So yes, it's in February, but we want to just demonstrate some of the newer technologies that are out there that we can put on planters that help us achieve, some of these goals around planting into no-till.
Okay, so big 12 months. And then you'll be launching into further Beyond First Principles workshops in 12 months' time.
Yeah, in 12 months' time. And, we've just recovering is not the right word. Recovering is the right word. So we've had these Beyond First Principles. We've had these 7 workshops. We want to carry that on, actually. And what we'll do with our Beyond First Principles, which probably will happen around the same time, and that is late June and then through July, through some of the key maize growing regions throughout New Zealand. We want to pull in some of the research, this pre-research that we're doing, profitability, resilience and environment, and what we're doing on farm. And we're going to talk about those in June in these Beyond First Principles, the 2022 Beyond First Principles workshops. And so that provides a whole lot of next level of discussion, because again, we've got this enormous yield potential in this bag of seed. How do we capture that? How do we do that? And yield is there's a close association between yield and profitability.
Cool. So plenty coming up.
We've got a really busy schedule with our research, and then that's fine. That's awesome, and we need to do that. And then communicating that out through things like podcasts and our extension strategy as well, Anna. So busy.
Busy. Okay.
But exciting as well. Mm.
Thanks, David. Thank you, listeners, and have a great day on the farm.
Thanks for tuning in to Cut the Crop, presented to you by FAR. If you'd like to know more about any of the topics discussed or have any suggestions for future topics, go to www.cutthecrop.co.nz.